The Lord be with you. I recently read a wonderful story about an older gentleman who was out ice fishing and he did everything right. He was dressed properly. He went out and he cut the hole. He had the right bait and he dropped his line in the hole and nothing. And he just sat there and for hours didn't catch a single thing. Well, after a few hours of such unsuccess, a young boy comes out there and he cuts a hole in the ice, not too far away from the gentleman, in fact, close enough for them to have a conversation. And he drops his line in the hole he had just made. And in the blink of an eye, he pulled out a huge bass. Well, the old man chalked it up to luck. And then the boy dropped his line in again and pulled out another huge fish. The boy kept doing this, just reeling in one fish after another. And the older man finally asked him, "What is your secret, son? I've been out here all day and haven't caught a thing." And the boy turned and looked at him and said, "Rah, rah, 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 war." The old man said, "What? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Say it again." Rah, 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 rah. And the man said, "Son, I've been out here all day. I don't have time to fool around. What did you say? I didn't understand a word of it." Well, at that, the boy spit out a large wad of worms from his mouth. And he said, "You have to keep the worms warm." We are bait. I know we don't think of ourselves like that, but you have to keep the bait warm. Our relationship with Jesus Christ, if we're to attract other people, we not only need to keep that warm, we need to keep it burning hot in our lives. We need to keep our relationship with each other warm, cordial, friendly, loving, for we are the bait. An example of this came to a man named Howard Hendricks. He's an author and educator, and he was getting ready to speak at a conference, and he was on a plane. And as sometimes happens, takeoff was delayed. And you may not know this, but sometimes human beings are not all that patient. Passengers became irritated, they became demanding, they were frustrated. But Howard noticed in all the confusion and irritability and chaos and the fuming and the fussing, there was one attendant, a flight attendant, who continued, no matter what, she continued to be gracious to each and every passenger. Even when they were finally in the air, she continued to be with the passengers in such a controlled way, with such poise and goodness. Well, when she came by his seat, Howard looked at her and asked her, "I've noticed just how well you've done through all of this. Can I write you a letter of commendation to the airline on your behalf?" And the lady said, "Oh, I don't work for the airline. I work for Jesus Christ. My husband and I prayed this morning that I would be a good representative of Jesus Christ on this flight." This woman got it. Rurah, rureeb, rarums, rar. Now you know what that means. This Sunday we're going to hear how Jesus called Simon Peter and other disciples to the life, the work, the ministry, and the love of Jesus Christ. How at his command they went out and though they expected to catch nothing, because that's what they had caught all night, they caught so many fish that it filled two boats and threatened to capsize both of them. Jesus says, now you will catch people. There's a lot of ways to interpret that. We could think of ourselves as the ones casting the nets. We are the ones spreading the word far and wide in the hopes that it will bring another huge catch, just like on that day of the calling of the first disciples. That's a legitimate way to see it. We could see ourselves as the net. We are the instrument the Lord uses to gather that catch in. Also legitimate. But I'm convinced that when it all is said and done, we are the bait. We are the ones who attract them to the fellowship. We are the ones who bring them in with warmth because the bait is warm. 4 out of 5 people say they come to church because someone invited them. It's just that simple. Because someone cared enough to say, I want to share this part of my life with you. I want to share my life with you. And they entered into a genuine, authentic relationship and invited them to come and be a part of other very genuine, authentic relationships. The good news, the fish are biting. The people are biting. They're hungry. And they want warm bait. Amen.